19 hours GMT. Hello and welcome to News 360 from the News app here in Accra. I am Issa Moni.
I'm Natalie Force. A look at the top stories this evening.
News 360 headlines is brought to you by Deluxe Paint, Heaven Black Mosquito Coil and Spray.
Kolebu Teaching Hospital suspends referral of emergency cases to its emergency unit for lack of space.
Energy Minister reassures ECG workers there will be no involuntary layoffs as concession agreement is laid before Parliament.
Also ahead this evening in business, depreciating cedi blamed on external shocks and not weak fundamentals.
And in Nigeria, when we go international news, Nigeria's main opposition PDP forms alliance to defeat President Buhari in next year's election.
Asia 360 segment is brought to you by Premier Health Insurance.
Sierra, it's good to see you. We are live in Russia once again. And
sure, and the last four, has already started. That is the semi-final and the first game of it, between two European giants. That's France against Belgium. The first half is not exactly as many predicted. It's been very tactical. It's not been very open. But Belgium really have had the upper hand in the first opening, half of that particular game. We definitely will bring you updates of that. Plus the fact that one of the greatest players ever in world football, Cristiano Ronaldo, is leaving Real Madrid or has left Real Madrid. All of that plus many more stories in the world of sports subsequently right here on News 360.
And begin the news tonight, the Municipal Chief Executive for Ewutu Senya East, Michael Isuman Mensah, has debunked claims the Kaswa District Court Magistrate Felicia Gandeji uses a chamber pot in her office due to the absence of washrooms at the court premises. In an interview with TV3, the MCE indicated the magistrate has an exclusive washroom in the facility.
Following a tour of the Kaswa Court in the Central Region by the Chief Justice, reports revealed that the court magistrate Felicia Gandeji showed her a chamber pot she uses due to the absence of washrooms at the facility, but this has been rubbished by the MCE Michael Isuman Mensah. According to him, the Ewutu Senya East Municipal Assembly relocated to its current office in May 2017 due to congestion at its former office. The arrangement was to save money and also have a more comfortable place of operation. He explained the new assembly complex, which houses the district court, has designated washrooms for staff and an exclusive one for the magistrate. Hence, he finds it surprising to understand why the magistrate Felicia Gandeji would abandon the washroom to use a chamber pot.
We least expected at such a moment where a judge, a female judge, will pull out chamber pot in front of the number 4th most powerful person of our land to show to her that she uses chamber pot to ease herself and also to urinate. So let's ask ourselves, how does she dispose of, empty the chamber pot after use? I mean, this busy imagination.
The MCE, Michael Isuman Mensah, said the Assembly would not relent on its effort to provide all the needed logistics to ensure smooth justice delivery in the municipality.
I hear the judge is on transfer. However, I am waiting to see the new judge, and then we'll sit down. And I'll ask her that the same way I asked this other judge to put in a request for things that must be done to make her comfortable.
The Chief Justice Sufar Ekofo has also vowed to close all court buildings that do not meet model designs.
Let's turn to the health sector now, as authorities at the Kolebu Teaching Hospital have suspended the referral of emergency cases to the hospital's surgical and emergency unit for lack of space to accommodate patients. The decision, according to the hospital, follows the congestion at the unit, which has compelled the hospital to attend to patients in bizarre ways. Here's a report by Sarah Parku.
The scene at the surgical and emergency unit of the Kolebu Teaching Hospital is that of an eyesore. The facility is a 36-bed capacity structure, but currently has in excess of 60 patients. Patients are scattered on the corridors of the unit with their IV fluids stuck in them. Doctors and nurses were struggling with movement around to deliver care to patients. Due to limited space at the unit, family members of the patients are made to sleep outside the unit. The situation is, however, not same at other units of the hospital, as the news team gathered some of the patients who are stable have been moved to other wards. Hajia Janet laments how she had to endure watching her sick daughter attended to in a chair.
It's very appalling. If you have not brought a patient here and you just listen to radio and television, you might think all is well. It's not well. Until my daughter came here. He had a sudden cardiac attack all the way in an ambulance from Kasua to this place. Luckily, they attended to her. But since we came, he has never had a bed. Somebody with cardiac-related problem, where you saw me is where he has been sitting.
For Mary Abrakwa, she had to rush across the streets of the hospital to buy plastic chairs to enable her sick husband, who had a heart attack and was rushed to the hospital to be attended to.
I bought these 2 chairs. I'll carry them along when my husband is discharged.
One Kobe Blay posted pictures of patients being attended to in plastic chairs and also lying on the floor of the unit on social media. According to hospital authorities, the situation compelled them to ask their sister hospitals to hold on with referrals to the facility for now. According to the public relations officer of the Kolebu Teaching Hospital, Mustafa Salifu, the situation is currently under control.
The number had reduced. Those who were sitting outside will move into the SME itself. But we are still doing. Another measure we took was to call the other hospital that they should hold on with the referrals.
He also revealed that there are plans to expand the facility to 70-bed capacity by the end of this month.
The Deputy Minister of Health also came here to find out what was happening, and then the Chief Executive also had a meeting with the ministry. So we are planning together. They are giving us necessary support to open the bigger emergency that is here by the 20th of July. That place will be open to at least double the capacity that we have now.
So until government works on the institutional leakages of the country's health system, this situation will continue to persist.
And authorities at the Suntresu Government Hospital in Kumasi have denied allegations of negligence leading to the death of a pregnant woman and her unborn baby. They've also described as false that 500 cedis was demanded as doctors' motivation fee before attending to patients at the facility. A report by Benjamin Adu.
The Suntresu Government Hospital in Kumasi has been in the media spotlight for allegedly refusing a 30-year-old pregnant woman entry into the labor ward on Wednesday, July 4. The hospital is alleged to have demanded a 500 cedi doctor motivation fee before medical attention, which the patient could not immediately pay. Angela Efriye Ajiman later died at a theater with her unborn baby. Medical superintendent at the hospital, Dr. Ejaku Poku, confirmed the death of the woman but ruled out negligence and demand for any motivation fee. He explained the woman in labor died whilst in queue to be attended to because of insufficient theater beds.
Sometimes some of things do happen. The same healthcare providers go through. Sometimes these are some of the things beyond our control. But I'm assuring all of you that management will not sit on concern, will go into this issue.
The Suntresu Government Hospital has only 1 theater bed for 2 doctors and 2 nurses. Patients often queue for space at the facility, which is second to the Komfo Anokye Teaching Hospital in patient turnout. Dr. Ejaku Poku appealed to government and stakeholders to help address challenges facing the hospital.
Some news in Parliament. The Privileges Committee of Parliament has found a replacement for the 3 members of Parliament on the committee who recused themselves in a case brought against Member of Parliament Frasin Central Kennedy Ejapong for alleged contempt. Now, the committee had its first public hearing on Tuesday, July 3, but its attention was drawn to a letter by counsel for the accused, purporting that some members on the committee have applied to recuse themselves but were present at the sitting. The 3 members who've been selected from the majority caucus to replace those MPs are Yao Boabing Asamoah, MP for Adentan, Yao Afo, MP for Jaman South, and Ekia Owusu Efriye, MP for Ablekuma North. Majority Leader, who made the announcements, described as unfortunate the manner in which the 3 MPs went about the process of recusing themselves, adding they acted in a manner that compromised the standing orders of Parliament.
Also in the news tonight, artisanal fisherfolk have kicked against the implementation of the nationwide closed season for all fishing activities next month. The fisherfolk contend the decision was ill-conceived and only meant to starve them rather than addressing the bigger problem. Peter Kwadoto has been following developments in the sector and has come through with the following report.
Closed fishing season was first announced in 2016 by the former President John Dramani Mahama. The intervention restricted only fishing trawlers from going for fishing expeditions at sea. The measure, which is viewed as a major step in achieving sustainable fishing, is also intended to help replenish the depleting fish stock. However, implementation period was heavily criticized by researchers. They maintained the best time to observe closed fishing season is in August, which is the major spawning period. The present administration not only accepted the scientific research, but also expanded the intervention to cover all fishing activities. But this appears not to have gained favor with artisanal fisherfolk on the fact that the call had come at a time the fisherfolks have invested towards the annual harvest season. Fishermen of Osu also agreed with the earlier call.
Is government trying to worsen our already precarious situation? How can we survive without fishing for a month? There are best practices from time. Let them reverse to the tradition to bring back the loss. Government directive cannot hold because it is not practicable. We have not understood the suspension and we will never support it. The earlier they drop it, the better for all of us.
This work is what people are doing to look at their children to go to school, and so if the government is coming to stop us, then what are we going to eat? Just 1 month. 1 month, then we are going to die.
Others insisted government is only engaging in a diversionary tactics.
We practice selective fishing and catch only fish that are big enough to swallow the hook. Trawler, on the other hand, sweeps everything under the sea. They must be the target, not us. Government must relook its game and focus on those trawlers and illegal fisherfolks. Bigger fishing vessels are destroying the fish stock. They have deprived us of our livelihood. They must be regulated, not us. Government must act appropriately.
The rest want government to provide them with alternative livelihood during the implementation period. The fisher folks maintained the depletion of the fish stock has been due to the unregulated trawling and IUU, which when effectively tackled will restore the industry.
In some other news this evening, Paramount Chief of the Abattoir Traditional Area, Togbi Adrakpanya VI, has lauded government's handling of the economy since assuming office. He was speaking during President Akufo-Addo's interaction with chiefs from Anlo, Keta, Ketu North and South, Akachi North and South, and North Tong to end day one of the president's tour of the Volta region.
According to Paramount Chief of the Abattoir Traditional Area, Togbi Adrakpanya VI, the Akufo-Addo government inherited an economy burdened with huge debts, high fiscal deficit, and a slow rate of growth. He told the gathering at Tajevu in the Ketu North constituency they were surprised the president was able to implement the free SHS policy, restore the nursing and teacher trainee allowances, and the program for planting for food and jobs, all within his first year of office.
We have been keenly and patiently monitoring your development focus and agenda for the nation and wish to state that you have done excellently well beyond our imagination considering the state of the economy you inherited. We will be most grateful if this institution could be upgraded into a fully fledged agriculture university to train young people to provide the needed human resources in the agriculture and food processing sectors to meet the aspiration of your policy on planting for food and jobs.
Togbi Adrakpanya VI also expressed heartfelt appreciation of the people of the Abattoir Traditional Area to the president for reinstating the Deputy Minister for Youth and Sport, Pius Enam Hajide. President Akufo-Addo urged the people to support the initiative to create new regions to enhance development.
This region that may well be created in the O2 region is not being created as a matter of spite, of dislike, hostility towards the people in the South. On the contrary, I am hoping that the good relations that exist today between all the people of the Volta region, that good relationship will survive and become stronger so that all parts of the Volta region will be together.
President Akufo-Addo will end the tour of the Volta region on Wednesday, July 11, 2018.
All right, on MTN video report, our citizen journalist Dixon Billion Bansa highlights an abandoned building at Sokode Bogame.
My name is Dixon McBillions Bansa, a citizen vigilante. I am covering this very story from Sokode Bogame, a town that is 10 kilometers drive away from the Volta regional capital. This edifice, which is a sustainable development project, was built by the then John Dramani Mahama administration a couple of years ago to serve as an abattoir for the region. But the place has now been covered with shrubs and weeds all over. Since it was built, it has not been inaugurated nor operationalized. So I am covering this very story to appeal to central government, to lower level units of government and stakeholders to come inaugurate and operationalize this very facility to serve the purpose for which it has been built, so it can be able to curb rural-urban drift, reduce unemployment and promote employment within the region.
Thank you, Dixon from Sokode Bogame. You can also send your video report via WhatsApp on 055-143-3044. That's 055-143-3044. In a moment, we'll be looking at the business stories after the break. Stay with us.
A very good evening to you, and thanks for staying with us right here on NEWS360. Time for business with me, Nanekia Mensah Brampa. And it's still trending. I'm talking about the Ghana City. Well, the head of Department of Finance at the University of Ghana Business School, Professor Godfrey Bokpeng, has said weak fundamentals cannot be the cause of the depreciating city, but rather external shocks. And he was speaking with my colleague, Nuon Falong.
The Ghana cedi today is changing for 4 cedis 82 pesos to $1. Last week, the cedi hit 4 cedis, 85 pesos to a dollar. Politicians and economists have not been able to agree on the true cause of the falling value of the cedi. Head of Finance at the University of Ghana Business School, Dr. Godfred Bokpin, explained that the fundamentals of the economy have been looking positive, and therefore the loss in value of the cedi cannot be blamed on weak economic fundamentals. He said the present state of the cedi is as a result of external forces and the inability of the cedi to withstand unexpected market shocks, adding other countries have suffered the same fate as a result of these market forces.
What we are seeing right now is more externally driven, with prospects of attractive securities in the US and emerging markets. And the fact that growth in the US is picking up, is consolidating, and that is offering a lot of hope for investors who ordinarily would have wished to invest their surplus funds in Ghana.
Dr. Bokpin lauded efforts of the central bank but cautioned politicians against politicizing the cedi.
The more we panic, the more we arm speculators. There's nothing wrong with the central bank coming onto the market to inject dollars. There's nothing wrong. Central banks all over the world, they do that, and consistent with managed floating exchange rate regime, they do that because ideally you don't want your currency to swing.
He defended probable decisions of resorting to foreign reserves to shore up the value of the cedi. Dr. Bokpin called on domestic investors to avoid panic decisions as they could further jeopardize the cedi.
Right, so the politicians and the analysts have been speaking, and we all have our eyes wide open waiting for the central bank to do something about the depreciating cedi. But interestingly, the forex bureaus have a different perception about this. They are blaming the depreciating cedi to market speculation, especially when the black market issues come to the fore. Right, so we took pains to check prices there on the Forex Bureau. In common, what we saw was that the cedi was buying at 4 Ghana cedis, 60 pesos to the dollar, and it's being sold to you at 4 Ghana cedis, 85 pesos when you visit some of the Forex Bureaus in town. Also for the cedi to the Great British Pound, it is being bought at 6 Ghana cedis, and it will be sold to you at 6 Ghana cedis, 40 pesos. And same for the cedi to the euro at 5 Ghana cedis, 30 pesos, being sold at 5 Ghana cedis, 60 pesos. So again, we visited the markets to see prices of foodstuffs and how it is, well, the cedi is having its own toll. And traders at the Malamata market have attributed the rise in prices of foodstuff to the change in weather, rather rising imports as well as the seasonal cultivation by majority of local farmers. They are, however, optimistic there would be a bumper harvest in August. Our reporter Bridget Marte has the rest of the story. The prices of foodstuff have gone up for some months now. Fruits and vegetables are expected to be in abundance between June and August, but that has not been the case. A sack of imported onions, which used to sell for 200 cedis a month ago, now sells at 360 cedis. A box of garlic imported from China, which used to sell at 600 cedis, now sells at 900 cedis. Again, a box of local tomatoes, which was going for 150 cedis, now sells at 250 cedis. Some traders at the Malamata market in Accra are of the view prices of foodstuff may go down when they are in abundance.
First, we say 5 cedis. We say 8 cedis.
We sell this tuber of yam at 8 cedis. Few months back, it was 5 cedis. We are hoping by August or September the price may go down.
The
first thing I tell no 8 cedis. Back say is an 12 cedis. So much to Tamane Boyedi. We're free Holland.
This is carrot from Holland. It used to be 8 cedis, but now it goes for 12 cedis.
80 Ghana. See, I could do 180.
We sell at a loss. We are expecting the harvest from Ada. The prices are better.
Both traders and customers are hopeful. As the rains come, foodstuff will be in abundance to ensure a stable and fair pricing on the commodity market.
Right, so obviously they are not blaming it on the depreciating cedi, but they are looking at the harvest period and what is being bought at what period in time. But we're still talking about food, and the Chief Executive Officer of the African Brand Warrior, Fatima Ali Mohammed, has suggested financial institutions that give loans to farmers should take into consideration post-harvest stages of agriculture. She said giving loans to cover only the pre-harvest season impacts negatively on farmers.
One of the biggest areas that we have as a challenge is that when finances are giving you the funds, they're financing you into what you're doing as a phase one. What happens to the production front, which is where the biggest challenge is? So you produce all this, but you're not protected. So if you do not have a market that is ready to buy it, what happens is the little stock that you have that you're selling is going back to pay your debt. So it becomes a vicious cycle.
Agriculture in Ghana is dominated by smallholder farmers who form 80% of the sector. Agribusiness expert Fatima Ali Mohammed noted the need for a dialogue and policy on financing of agriculture in the country.
These smallholders, where are you expecting them to give you bank statements and give you collaterals and give you everything else that a typical, financer or bank would need? It becomes a challenge. We really need to take this and make it a national dialogue and sort of put in certain measures to say, look, this is needed and it's needed right now.
Agriculture and agribusiness is a vehicle for improving Ghana's foreign exchange earnings, promoting food security, and for supporting domestic price stability. An economist at the research department of the Bank of Ghana, Dr. Frank Pra, indicated banks are now moving away from collateral to cash flow requirements.
What you must understand is that whether it is a penny you are receiving as an entrepreneur, let it pass through your bankers. They just want to know your inflows and outflows. We still put money under our pillows. And that goes a long way to hurt us when we need it most.
He indicated there are a lot of untapped funds in the system. However, due to lack of information, the funds are not being accessed.
We always go to bank and then we lose. The same way we know development partners are there. But some still go to Ministry of Finance going for support to develop their business plan. That room had been locked a long time. And so GESAL is to bring this centralized information system to help.
One important resource for farmers is the Ghana incentive-based risk-sharing system for agricultural lending. It aims to reduce the overall risks in agricultural financing to boost production, productivity, and exports.
Okay, so we'll wrap up on the commodities, specifically on oil prices, and we understand that oil prices rose by over 1% towards $79 per barrel on Tuesday due to growing supply outages. Now, hundreds of workers on Norwegian offshore oil and gas rigs went on strike on Tuesday after rejecting a proposed wage deal that is leading to the shutdown of one Shell-operated oil field, and this has contributed to the price rise. So that is what we're seeing there. Well, it was predicted at $79 per barrel for the afternoon, but currently the price stands at $78.75 there, with, of course, a price change seeing that increase there of 0.87%. Definitely, if this trend continues, we would see the trickle-down effect when fuel prices will be announced for the second pricing window for the month of July. So let's see how that pans out, because some banks have also suggested that Brent could push to as high as $85, which we hope doesn't happen. But let's keep fingers crossed and see how the commodities turn out. But that will do for business tonight. My name is Nanikia Mensah Brampa. Isai standing by. Good evening.
Hoping is good. Let's hope it doesn't happen. Now, Parliament is racing against time to pass the ECG concession agreement, which is scheduled to be signed by July 26, if not lose out. Now, the Energy Minister, Boakye Ejakon, at a media briefing after laying the agreement in Parliament on Tuesday, June 10, allayed fears of workers who feel they might lose their jobs after the agreement.
The Ghana Power Compact, signed in August 2014, would provide Ghana with a grant of $498,200,000 United States dollars to improve the performance of Ghana's power sector, unlock the country's economic potential, create jobs, and reduce poverty. The agreement is at a stage where it needs Parliament's ratification. It has been laid and referred to the Mines and Energy Committee as well as the Finance Committee. Parliament has 2 weeks within which to approve the agreement before rising.
It's the signing of the concession agreement, which we expect to happen by July 26, after the parliamentary debates. Then the transaction becomes effective August 2nd, 2018. It is on becoming effective that the second tranche of funding of about $992 million is released to ECG to tackle very critical and important infrastructural development.
One of the companies that lost the bid to manage ECG, BXC Company Limited, has sued the Millennium Development Authority, the entity spearheading the concession process. But Energy Minister Boakye Jaku maintains the selection process has been fair, adding this will not affect the ratification process.
An action pending in court curtailing parliamentary consideration, the lawyers may have to tell me. I do not believe that the BXC case has any legs to stand on, and I'm confident that Parliament will graciously proceed with ratification so that we can get on with the business.
Government has amended the terms of the concession agreement to require that Ghanaians own at least 51% of the concession.
It cannot be that a Ghanaian partner will unload part of their shares to a foreign company and then we give consent. The shareholding must be 51% Ghanaian. If you are offloading and you do not offload to a Ghanaian, then it cannot be permitted.
The Energy Minister, Boakye Jaku, noted all the legitimate concerns raised by the Public Utility Workers Union, PUW, had been resolved. He urged workers to remain calm as there will be no involuntary layoffs.
Every single ECG worker, save the 192 who will stay with reformed ECG, have the right under the collective bargaining agreement to be transferred. Those ECG workers who feel the change and new environment may not be in tune with them can opt out and then be entitled to their regular severance under their collective bargaining.
About $350 million of the grant is being invested in ECG. This is expected to make the country's power distributor operationally and financially efficient.
The General Secretary of the National Democratic Congress, Johnson Asiedu Nketia, has called on public institutions to probe the controversies surrounding the Freddie Blay bus procurement. The probe, he says, was very necessary as the newly elected chairman of the MPP also happens to serve as chair of the Ghana National Petroleum Corporation.
The General Secretary was also asked how the NDC's headquarters was financed. He stressed that it would be more appropriate for public institutions to investigate the matter as they should the Freddie Blay bus procurement saga.
Nobody knows who actually is doing the procurement, whether it is Freddie Blay as a person or MPP as an organization, because they keep changing the goalposts. So the whole thing is shrouded in some secrecy. And the nation should be worried, more so when you have Freddie Blay heading one of the most sensitive organizations in this country as far as our economy is concerned, and that is the GNPC.
It's only
which controls our resources. Okay? So it must be a cause of worry. So it must be investigated.
With reference to the removal of the EC boss and her two deputies, he referred to a quote made by Obama advocating stronger institutions, not strong men, and called on government to protect state institutions rather than remove people from key positions.
When I was in Parliament, a parliamentary committee on judiciary produced a report that the judiciary was indeed, there was indeed rampant corruption in the judiciary. It didn't lead to the removal of the then Chief Justice. You understand? Because the administrative things that happened under him, the administrative which could be cured. And so we indicated it to the Chief Justice, and he came and declared that he will work on those ones. So if, what do you call it, National Procurement Authority had come to look at these issues and they see these infractions, they can call them, issue a management paper, and they'll look at those ones and correct them. That should not lead to the removal of commissioners.
You're watching News 360 from the News Hub here at Adisawe Kanda. We bring you the latest of news from the world of sports with Thierry Nan shortly. Stay with us. Welcome back to News 360. On the international front this evening, Nigeria's main opposition, People's Democratic Party, has formed an alliance with dozens of other parties in a bid to defeat President Muhammadu Buhari in next year's election. The coalition, including a faction of the governing party, plans to field a single candidate. The group say they want to rescue the nation from further decline. Mr. Buhari, whose first term has been blighted by ill health, says he will run in 2019. A similar coalition of opposition parties, which backed Mr. Buhari, was largely responsible for the defeat of then-President Goodluck Jonathan in the 2015 elections. Many serving senators, members of the lower house of parliament, and some state governors are believed to be behind the new movement. The 39-party alliance, called the Coalition of United Political Parties, says it wants to form a government of national unity. One of the leaders of the breakaway faction of the ruling All Progressive Congress, APC, Buba Galadima, described Mr. Buhari's presidency as a monumental disaster.
Right, this is News 360, and we'll return shortly with some entertainment news.
Let's settle for some entertainment news tonight on News 360. We'll start with film. Now, the chairman of the various regional branches of the Ghana Actors Guild and committee heads have met in Accra to review the Guild's constitution enacted in 1996. Aside putting in place the right governance structures to drive the Guild, the review process will ensure that the constitution becomes adequately responsive to the needs of the Guild.
Me and my for the house. How much you do?
Executives of the Ghana Actors Guild recognize that the body's constitution has to be reviewed to take care of their current needs and aspirations. It's been 22 years after the Guild's constitution was promulgated. According to executives of the Guild, some clauses have become irresponsible to current dynamics, hence the need for the document to be fine-tuned.
The National Executive Committee, and in that position, do the following. A. Record minutes of both executive and general meetings.
The all-inclusive review process received inputs from consultants and legal experts. Ashanti Regional Chairman of the Guild, Bill Asamoah, described the process as forward-looking and a step in the right direction.
It's been long overdue. I think this process was initiated way back in 2006, thereabouts, by the then President Niodo Mensah, and we were unable to push through it. And then, by God's grace, if it is here today with us, I think it is laudable.
Decentralizing the structures of administration, growing membership, and overhauling the constitution to be more gender sensitive were high on the agenda.
As an entity, the Guild is growing, and the dynamics within the Guild is changing, and the terrain within which they are operating is also reforming very fast. And it's important that they look at their constitution, which was enacted several decades ago, to ensure that the constitution captures the realities of their circumstances and is structured in a manner that facilitates the efficiency of their administration.
It's not really been done this way before, and this constitution has really taken a lot of time to get to this stage. And today at the meeting, at the review meeting, there are other departments we just added up to be fixed into the constitution, like the women's wing, and we believe that in our generation now, women should be inclusive in everything we are doing. So
the reviewed document will be tabled for final validation at a special congress to be held later this month.
We will have a special congress in which we'll be able to promulgate the Constitution so that it forms the bedrock of our way forward for elections in October.
So away from film, let's go to rap, and let's go to Sekondi Takrade, where we join Connect FM's street rap battle. And let's see how waste management left judges and fans laughing hard during the freestyle session.
For waste management, waste management, waste management. For waste management, the baby mom. For waste management, baby mom. Now I started. Two. And two. Waste management. Pochamentasu. And waste management. Okay. For recycle, baby mom. Pochabadi. Recycle. Cycle. Honestly, Jansu. Bicycle. Bicycle, another recycle. Can Bobo? Bobo, another Bobo. Bobo. Ah, yo. For corruption, Yadimum. Corruption. 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 Corruption.
A very confident boy there, isn't it? And that's about it for Entertainment News tonight. My name is Miriam. I'll catch you on the Urban Blend on 3FM 92.7 tomorrow at 10 a.m.
Miriam?
Yes. I love the swag. Yeah, the little boys go swag.
Yeah. It's very amusing. Well,
that's how we end this edition of NEWS360. Thank you for watching. My name is Issa Moni.
I'm Natalie Force. Visit our website. It's 3news.com for some more news. Also, news at 10 will simulcast on our sister station, 3FM 92.7. Have a lovely evening.